Tits.
Nine Areolas.
Eyes are golden. The GoldenEye.
GoldenEye. I can't do it.
What was the first time you watched GoldenEye?
This is actually the first time I've ever watched GoldenEye. Like, I've played the game so much, and I don't think I've ever seen any other James Bond movie other than this. I've just never gotten around to them.
Interesting.
What about you?
Yeah. First time ever watching it was during the James Bond movie month run. That was fun. I also heard that it started a genre, the spy game shooty shoot genre.
GoldenEye?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
video game.
Yeah, it was like one of the there were other first person shooters, but it really like popularized the couch co-op first person shooter, really like gave it a I don't know, it made it fun, like really fun.
Well, that's fun. I wasn't alive then. So this came out in 95.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about this at all? Were you in Iraq?
Like at war?
In Iraq, not like under Iraq, but in it.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like in Iraq, like with the troops. I'm like, dude.
Oh,
like,
I
shit.
don't think it's. Wait, Iraq was like 2002, right?
I don't know, but you sounded like you knew of the war by saying.
I don't know anything about wars.
You know when someone says Iraq, but they say Iraq, you sounded like, oh, Iraq. You know, like the country.
I have not heard anybody say Iraq. I've only heard them say Iraq.
Well,
It's
I wasn't
funny.
under Iraq. I knew about the game. Really loved playing it. I knew of James Bond, you know, from like Austin Powers, like making fun of him and stuff. But
Yeah,
I had never seen cared to like watch any of the James Bond films at all.
that makes sense.
What about you? Like, did you grow up knowing about them?
No, not at all.
Really?
Not really. Yeah, I was just. I mean, I knew James Bond as in the name. I didn't know what James Bond movies there were, and I didn't really care until like this year. And I was like, "Oh, this is what the James Bonds are. Interesting." I know there's another series I have to go over. I have the John Wicks. I've done the James Bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Now I gotta do the Jason Bournes.
Those are interesting because they've had different, like one or two different people play him too, right? Or maybe three.
I don't know anything about the series, but in
Well,
this
James
one, someone
Bond.
steals a help. Huh?
I'm sorry, James Bond. How many James Bonds are there, like altogether?
I think it's 24.
Holy shit!
I mean, that's just the Eon production ones. There's also unofficial ones, so that's fun.
That's funny.
I'm like, are these books in the public domain? Why are there a bunch of books that are just available? I actually didn't look it up. It would probably be in the public domain. What do you think?
I don't think it's that old. I think it has to be from like 1901 or 1902 or 1905 to be in the public domain now. It's like 100 years.
I mean,
because I know Mickey
Superman's
Mouse
about to be in the public domain in like 6 years.
Popeye, I think, just went there too.
I'm
not sure.
Mickey Mouse is in public. Well, yeah, it's in public domain now.
Yeah, that one version of Mickey Mouse, the Steamboat Willie.
Yeah,
one.
the Steamboat Willie. What was that from the 20s?
I think even sooner. I think it was from like 1905.
Sooner would be. Oh boy, I gotta look it up. All right, because I gotta know when this took place. Steamboat Willie. Yeah, Steamboat Willie was 1928.
Oh wow, I thought it was older than that.
Yeah, so it seems to be 92 year 94 6 years. I don't know what's it's less than 100 it seems. I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
you're right. GoldenEye. Yeah. What happens? So at the beginning, what it's two dudes and they're like cool with each other, and they stop these Russians from, I don't know, like having chemicals that are bad.
Yeah, this is during the Soviet Union.
Oh,
And
okay.
then
Oh yeah,
like in the future, someone steals a helicopter
that
and
chick.
yeah, very successfully so. I'm like, "Oh wow, you did a good job. Congrats on stealing this copter."
That scene. There's a scene where she has sex with a dude, and she like throughout the whole movie, and not to get too far ahead, she gets off like pretty much on like hitting people, right? And like choking them.
I mean, maybe she's a sadist.
Hmm.
She's into that. I don't know. Maybe I mean it'd be kind of the evil thing to do. It makes sense.
Do you think you could choke a man with your thighs?
Nah, I'm too submissive and masochist for that. I would want to be choked with by a lady's thighs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like by a man's
Yeah.
thighs. Ew.
I don't know. A
All
man's
hairy.
thighs if it's chiseled, but
Yeah,
any other
that's
thighs,
true.
I just want it to be a woman's thighs.
I would want a guy's thighs, but he has to be a biker, like a cyclist. So he's got real nice legs, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Give me a bicycler's thighs. Crush me.
Bicycles. Hell yeah.
Crush my head like a watermelon.
uh, and yeah, so this helicopter gets stolen. They take it to get the weapon that is known as GoldenEye, which is like a penis-shaped satellite in the air, right? Or in space. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it ejaculates laser beams. Oh wait, I'm thinking of oh man, there's another space weapon. I feel like this era of James Bond, you haven't seen the other James Bonds, but this era of like the 80s movies, there's like two in a row, it's just space weapons. And this is one of them in a row.
Okay.
Yeah. So they got like kind of like a nuke thing going on up there. And
Yeah, like a EMP.
I've always been curious as to how they can get those objects up there when there's a treaty. It was like signed pretty early on in the space race. Hey, we can't put weapons up there. And I'm sure that it still is that still holds true. Why are they putting weapons up there and how are they doing it?
I feel like they disguise them as just regular satellites, and especially since this one is, it's
I would
not
think so.
really firing blasts of like weapon, it's firing huge blasts of energy that like
Mm.
cause that EMP to where it causes an electrical, just everything to fail, like
I mean, that would
electrolyte.
be bad up there
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
like you're gonna mess with the space station now. I don't know. I wouldn't mess with it personally.
I don't know how you can secretly get something up into space. I feel like everyone would see that, but there
Yeah,
must still
camouflage
be a
it.
way. Uh, you just get
Put
it,
some invisible paint on it.
put a
You
space
can't
blanket,
tell. Yeah,
put tinfoil, it
that'd be
reflects
funny.
everything.
Exactly.
One from everyone gets killed at that GoldenEye facility except one woman named Natalia. Do you can you do a good Russian accent or no?
I am a Russian, and this is
Okay,
how I speak. Is that good?
good enough.
Good enough.
He,
Thank you. I could
yeah.
blend in.
I think you were pretty as good as her Russian,
I
Natalia.
sounded exactly like her. You couldn't tell the
I
difference.
could not. It
No.
was mirror image. I know. But yeah, she survives, and I don't know. She's trying to like get a hold of the other dude that was there, Boris, who's invincible, but he ends up being the traitor of the group, and yeah, James Bond just keeps trying to like track the people whoever's behind the GoldenEye stealing. You know?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I feel like all the middle stuff, all the middle details are not important, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It never is. But like, I don't know. I feel like the middle stuff between like the actually important stuff, it's there to like lead to the actually important stuff to
yeah,
be said and told. So like, even though the middle stuff is like whatever, I'm still like still kind of important, the politics of the world, but um honestly, I feel like James, this movie in particular has to be
mm-hmm.
some sort of commentary on the world during that time. 95?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember 95? What it was like?
I just remember playing, like I said, GoldenEye on the N64 and Diddy Kong Racing and other multiplayer games, Super Smash Brothers with my buddies, my homies. That's
Mm,
about it. If anything did happen politically, I didn't care about it. I was just being called
yeah.
fat. Yeah, the whole time.
Ah, good old times.
Do
Good old days. Anyway, so like they're also like on a train. Man, nobody wants them to stay on any moving vehicle of any kind for too long. And they being like James Bond and a chick he's with.
mm-hmm.
Like we always got the enemies be like, "Hey, you're on a train, gotcha. You're on a helicopter, gotcha. You can't be there." It's kind of annoying.
Is that something you noticed like throughout the whole series, or just like this movie in particular?
This one in particular,
Okay.
um, there are some times in other films where he's kind of just having a talky talk moment in a car, but then it's always like, oh, it's the enemies behind you now. It's a pattern I've noticed.
What I um what I noticed in this movie, and again, I've never seen any James Bonds, is he gets with at least like three girls, right? I mean, there was the first girl, which was like the secretary, that Miss Penny, Money Penny or whatever, and then
Yeah.
he just like kisses her, and I feel like okay, that's pretty sacred. Maybe they're together, and then he gets with that.
Oh, they have a teasy relationship throughout the entire series.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he actually sleeps with Moneypenny. There is a scene in like early on in not early on, but like in the modern stuff, kind of like 2008ish. There's a
Mhm.
scene where Moneypenny's like fantasizing about James Bond just forcing himself onto her and just they
Mm.
start fucking, but it turns out to be a daydream. It's interesting how they put that in there. So they have like they have a flirty relationship going on the entire time.
And she's cute, but he did that with her at the beginning, and then he was with that bad girl. I mean, not purposely. He was like kind of wrapped up with her in fights and like making out with her, the
Right.
evil chick. And then you had him just like get with this Natalia girl like after the train. They just like started kissing after it almost blew up.
I mean, when's the time to do it? You have to do it when you got a chance, which is after trains blow up sometimes. It's just, normal. Everyone does it.
Is this yeah, I would say maybe you're the expert on that, as far as like when the right time is to kiss the girl. Uh I would
Yeah,
say
I guess so. I'm the expert now.
yeah, you the expert. Is this like the theme obviously with James Bond where he's always like getting the girl? Is this like this in all the movies where he's just getting a random chick and then like kissing her like minutes later?
Um, it's mostly the earlier ones are more like that. Uh, the Daniel Craig ones, which is the most recent Bond, like within the last five movies,
Mhm.
they're it's mostly following one, maybe two women max throughout the series. It's a trait of a older Bond to be sleeping with the chicks.
That rascal, that rapscallion.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting how Bond progresses throughout the years. The different characterizations, the different styles. It's interesting.
And then how they made that M a woman, that was like a big deal in this. So like, oh, M's a woman now, ooh, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty big deal. That is the
Mhm.
first appearance of M as a woman. But I do think she's a good fit just because she's kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
And what else? What other position would she be in? I, I just, she's a good fit. She turns out to be a motherly figure. She, it's interesting how her character progresses. I think Goldeneye definitely is the start of what I would call modern Bond, which is a period where there's more emotionality and humanity in the writing versus just cool guys doing cool stunts.
So there's reality to it in basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's pretty cool. So we get to the end where they want to use the other satellite that's like in a jungle area. I forget. Is it like Puerto Rico or Cuba or something? And I
Who
forget.
knows?
I forget. And
Oh yeah,
they
they have the crater. They have the crater base. That's so cool. I wish I had a crater base. I mean, what? There's stuff you could do with it. You could
yeah.
like have a cool hidden base in there. But luckily, these fellows they have the crater base, and then they're in this one. There's like ninjas. Remember that part? Oh wait, there's like no, that's a different one. There's two James Bonds. I have to say, there's two James Bonds. They both have like the same crater bit,
Hmm.
like kind of idea. But one is like where James Bond encounters a bunch of ninjas and recruits them, and then they all go into the crater.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Ninjas.
ninjas. So no, this is not that one. This one's a little bit
Okay.
more grounded. Um, but yeah, they like discover the base, and I'm
And
like, "Ooh, cool."
and then it turns out his old buddy that ended up, well, he was supposed to have died with the explosion of the Russian thing back in the Soviet Union. He's actually alive, and he's there
Yeah,
to get revenge on not James Bond, but on the place they work at. He's just like wanting, he's hating on the job, right?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, who are you gonna fault for that? Are you gonna really try to destroy the agency? There's a reason why the agency exists. Just because the people who play it now kind of suck doesn't mean that it's not important.
That's true. I mean, he does have. I remember when he was saying, "Oh, James Bond, you have a license to kill, but not a license to break parking tickets or whatever." And I'm like,
Well, that was a good one-liner. I was like, you know what? You're right. He does not have the license to commit traffic
violation.
violations. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I'm
think
just
this
like,
is
okay.
also the start of where he starts to destroy all the cars and it becomes a running gag. So, he keeps getting expensive cars assigned to him and then he destroys them in some way.
No, the
The
cars are
stunts are
nice.
cool. Yeah, this it's cool. I like that part.
And yeah, so this guy, he's just hating on James Bond and all the agency or what it stands for. He wants to commit like thievery with the Electric Impulse GoldenEye and get revenge. But then James Bond just like stops him in the nick of time with a cool fight scene. He tells him, "For England, James," and he's like, "No, for me." And then he survives a fall that I don't think anyone would survive, but he does. But then the thing falls on him and kills him.
Uh, um, for this ending is just kind of like it kind of feels out of the out of just out of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? And also, I think the thing that I like about the most about this movie is how different and fresh and new it feels compared to the other James Bond movies. Um, Listening to you describe it, I was like, wait, why do you need an nuclear device to steal stuff? Don't you just couldn't you just get a really big gun? That
You
would take care
could
of a lot of things.
like a gun that requires two hands to hold.
Yeah. Not this like, oh, I have an EMT to disable nuclear devices. I'm like, nobody's using nuclear devices. I mean, because if they did, it'd be mutually assured destruction, and no one wants that. So now we're at a standstill.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this the 006 is planned. I don't know. It just sounded so. It's just petty. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I hate the agency. I'm gonna destroy it. Like,
Yeah, petty's a good word for it.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
It doesn't seem anything. It's very personal,
yeah.
and
I
even with James
imagine.
Bond, he said it was personal too.
I imagine most of the James Bond things, like the world's at stake, like the entire world. You know?
Yes, I mean, I don't think James Bond films necessarily do a good job at the saying how much at stake people are if James Bond isn't successful. Um, it's always focused on just James Bond himself and what he's doing. Not much of how he's feeling until up to modern movies. But tell me how would a world work if James Bond weren't there?
I mean, pretty much like the world we're in now, where
Does this program exist, the 007 or something similar to it? Does this exist in the real world?
I would believe it does. I mean, I don't think we're supposed to know about it, or it's very iceberg like, but I feel like it does. Where there are people who have these
I feel like there would be
licenses.
too.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Hmm. Well, what do you think of this film? How did it make you feel?
Uh, it was like really long. Uh, I thought it was all right,
Yeah.
but it was really long. I thought it was longer than it needed to be, and like you said, it ended like out of nowhere and wrapped a bow around it like super quick, despite everything else really dragging on.
Okay. So it's not just me noticing that. It's just like
Hmm.
I there's so many people who hold James Bond movies in such high regard, and then I watch it and then I'm like, "Oh, well, this is actually kind of mid." It's just cool. It's like really cool, and you get to see a guy do a lot of cool stuff. But does it make sense? Not in particular. And I also felt like the transitions in between scenes and places was muddy, and you just kind of feel like you're just, oh, now I'm in a different place than I was last time. Like, oh, we're in London, we're in Egypt, or we're in Cairo, or whatever.
Yeah, it would
Kind of like
have
that.
very little explanation to set you up for the next location. From I mean, it would have some setup like, oh, I'm hacking this computer here. It says Puerto Rico. Guess we're going to Puerto Rico, and
And
then
then
they
we
end
go to
up.
Puerto Rico, and it's like, always you can miss it. Um, blink your ears and you can miss it.
I'm be like, why the fuck are we in Puerto Rico now? I just went to the bathroom for like 1 minute. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. What would you rate this?
Uh, I mean, since I've hold the game, like I have, those retro lenses, and I hold the game so near and dear to my heart. I'd probably give it like a 7.5, just because it was a great game for the
Hmm.
N64. It spawned that, at least. It created that.
All right.
Mhm. About you?
I think it's 6.5. It's all right. It's all right.
What
I
do you
thought
think
we
of
though.
what do you think of Pierce Brosnan as Bond? Like, don't even think about the movie. What do you think of him as Bond? Because I think he's a pretty good Bond.
He's a pretty good Bond. Yeah, he feels enough like Bond, and he feels like a refresher from Timothy Dalton, who's kind of a Romeo type. So he just feels like a return to Sean Connery.
Hell yeah,
It's pretty
like a
cool.
suave fellow.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that was GoldenEye 007 James
Woo,
Bond. I got a game here
ooh,
for
nice.
you, calling it Rare Games.
Rare
And
games.
Rare Games. And what it is, the company that made the 007 James Bond game, their company's named Rare Games.
Okay.
Uh yeah, that's funny because I tried looking at Rare Games and they're just showing me like $1,000, $9,000 video games that are just rare to
All
buy.
right.
But I'm gonna show you basically some games, and you're gonna try to guess the character or the series, and they're all related to the company Rare, the game
Okay.
makers that made 007. So as we see here, here's GoldenEye 007 for the N64. A lot of everyone's childhood right there. And we will go to picture number one. Do you know who these cool dudes are?
Battletoads.
Yeah, Battletoads. They made Battletoads.
Nice. That's a pretty sweet toad. He's got some glasses on that makes him cool.
I like how they don't have genitals. They just have like a nice smooth crotch.
That's their codpiece.
Oh, okay, so there's something under there.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
like a
remove
penis.
it and you'll see it.
Oh, I don't want to see it. I was just curious.
OnlyFans.
Look in the
Amphibia fans.
amphibie
Yeah.
fans. Oh, that's great. You're fucking great. Was this the next one? Yeah, it was. Do you know who these cool dudes are?
Um Wajak Kazooie. Something Kazooie.
What's he playing?
He's a Banjo Kazooie.
I don't know. I didn't even realize he was playing a banjo. His name's fucking Banjo. Banjo Kazooie. Yes.
Oh, that's fun. I don't know where I know him from. I think I've
Super
just
Smash.
no, I probably just like YouTube videos. I've
Oh, okay.
picked it up.
You just know that the bird's named Kazooie. That's just in your head. That
Wait, the
knowledge.
bird's name is Kazooie?
Yeah, and the bear's named
Oh.
Banjo.
Oh, because it has a kazoo.
I don't think he has a kazoo. I don't know why he's named
Looks like
Kazooie, but
kazoo. It's
is
like
it?
a really crude kazoo. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but you guessed that Kazooie. I thought you would guess Banjo easier than Kazooie.
Huh.
Let's see here. Do you know who these these characters are from what game?
What the fuck? Um. Far Cry.
That was a good guess. Killer Instinct.
I've never played that.
Really? It's an old SNES or Super Nintendo game. I remember playing it at my buddy's house. It's like Mortal Kombat.
All right, that it reminded me of Mortal Kombat.
They made popular in that game the saying combo breaker whenever you'd like be in a combo and then you'd break out of it.
Hmm.
That was pretty popular for
Interesting.
that. Do you know who these
Oh
two
my god. I love this fucking game. Viva Pinata.
You played Viva Pinata?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yo,
fucking
Viva
great.
Pinata is awesome.
They made Viva
Uh,
Pinata.
is this still a thing? Are they making Viva Pinata?
Not that I have seen any like updates about anything now current, but I know they had that cartoon that was pretty cool, and the video games are cool. I like them. My brother really liked them.
Yeah. I liked playing the video games a lot. It was a fun time.
Let's see here. Do you know who this chick is or her game series?
Oh god. Uh, Discount Halo.
Pretty much. This is like a successor to the GoldenEye 007 shit. This is Perfect Dark.
Huh, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it was made with that same like first person shooter engine. Do
Mm.
you know who these guys are?
The Donkey Kong.
The Kongs, all the Kongs,
All of the Kongs.
most of the Kongs. I'll say that they have another one that's like a chick in a bikini with like a female body, but she's still like a Kong. You know,
Huh.
they have those characters where they're like animals, but they have like female, sexy looking bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, they got one like that.
Ooh.
The Kongs. Lastly, here, do you know who this?
What the fuck is this Peanut? Rip Peanut. Rest in peace, Peanut.
Rest in
Everyone
peace,
will
Peanut.
remember you.
He's just like Harambe. He died for our sins.
He died for her sins.
This is Conquer from Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
No, that was
Interesting.
Bad Fur Day. But if people want to see not a Bad Fur Day and actually something that's very nicely and clean shaven, I think right. I don't know. I forget who. Where can they find your bits, your peanuts?
AutisticBoobs.com has all of my socials. I do them daily movie reviews. YouTube.com/ASC Presents.
Awesome. And I have a podcast, That's All Funny, available daily, anywhere podcast available. That's All Funny. That's All Kayfabe every Mondays, wrestling. And this wonderful show with the wonderful Mint Salad every Tuesdays on YouTube and anywhere podcast available. Just search for Tits and Areolas with Mint Salad. I want to thank the wonderful Mint Salad for being here. I want to thank all y'all for listening, liking, praying. Rest in peace, Peanut. Stay away from the GoldenEye and stay safe. Everyone, take care. Bye.